Chris Melling taking on Tom Ford to get us going this evening. And what a matchup to kick off Group 9 of the Ultimate Pool Champions League. Chris Melling's going to get kicked in off, but knowing Chris as I do, he will already feel that he was very, very close anyway. Didn't get much of that break as he would have wanted. Yeah, and he knew he was already halfway to his chair by the time that one dropped. So Tom Ford will get first go, cue ball behind the line for a scratch off the break. And he's looking at yellows. This game is very simple. You pick your colour set. Tom's picked the yellows here. You'll need to pot all those, then the 8 ball, and he will win the frame. 4 of those will win you the match. And enough points in the league table, once everyone has played each other tonight, will win you the group, and that is the aim. Top of the group at the end of the night goes through to the next stage of the Champions League to join 8 others who have already secured safe passage into the last 16. Shot clock and match clock are in play. 30 seconds for the first 15 minutes of the match. Will then dip to 15 with 5 minutes left. And if by the end of the 20-minute match clock and the clock strikes 0, we're yet to have a player reach 4 on the scoreboard, we will take the result as is. And that does bring into play the draw as well. Golden Break and Golden Duck are also in play tonight, if you were wondering. So Tom Ford in good position here. They looked a little bit smelly to start with, these yellows, but I think he's gone through a cute little route here. Is the yellow in the middle of the table still causing him some grief?
It depends, he might have the natural here. Yeah, I wondered if the natural was taking him into the red and leaving him on the one in the centre, but he won't worry about just leaving it long top right. So as long as 8 ball is open enough, no, he might not be on it. His problem at the beginning of the visit was there was a cluster to develop and had to go into it, and it took some of the control away, and from there he's kind of just been trying to hang on to this chance.
Big shot. Even early on. He doesn't miss many, does Tom Ford. That was beautifully played. Oh, I say that.
It was tight. It was really tight, and I think originally the plan was to get onto the yellow top right in such a way where he didn't have to play for it in this pocket. Hard to tell on that replay quite how tight it was, but I was looking at it before he even played for it in that pocket, thinking, well, that might not be as accessible as you think. It could be a big moment very early in this one, because Chris should just float through these. It's always a nice situation for a player to have an open layout, you know, as in their opponent has potted all their 7 and they get to come to the table and kind of float through a finish and get a little bit of feel for the table. But Chris is a touch short on this one.
Yeah, just needs to dot his I's and cross the T's here, does Chris Melling.
Yeah,
he was going into that red.
Yeah, and that's taken away some of the control. He's now got a problem. Can he see the one that's on the cushion? Because he could still make it, but if not, maybe a tough plant that might block the 8 ball if he doesn't make it. No, he's just going to play it clean.
Still not ideal. He's reaching a little bit here, is Chris?
He is. This does slide past the 8 ball, and again, it's one of those that covering pockets in this game isn't great, but when you're covering the 8 ball, it's not terrible. So it sort of took a little bit of pressure off the pot, but it's still tough. He's now got to go cushion first and play it off the 8 ball, and he's going to be playing on a moving ball, and he's slightly off angle.
Played it beautifully. Chris Melling gets out of dodge a little bit there on that visit to the table in the world, but hands down one of the best to watch. Oh, that 8 ball was close, got knocked a couple of times too. Tom Ford has made a ball and we get first chance at these. He's taken a few off the table as well. 3 reds have gone down, and typically, I'm not sure he's got the greatest opportunity. We'll have a look in a minute. If the yellow goes at the bottom of the table, he's absolutely fine. I think that tells you it did not. He's tried to play it off the yellow, and all he's done is open up the yellows a little bit for Chris Melling. It's a funny old break that from Tom Ford, because I mean, look at the amount of balls he's taken off the table there, but everything's a little bit awkward.
He deserved better for that quality of break. I thought he was going to make a golden break, obviously, but
I wish he did.
Yeah, this has opened up a little bit for Chris. He's got one cannon to play, and he's got 2 or 3 options to play that cannon. The one at the bottom no longer an issue because of the shot that Tom's just played. I suppose he does have the one on the left-hand side as well, so it's 2 balls that need to be worked out, not the one.
Well, he's got an angle now to go into the one at the top of the table. You won't hang about with that.
Slightly surprised at the pace that Chris played it at, because normally he's so clever with his cannons, and he's not just going into it and hoping for the best.
Well, I think from there, I think he's tried to get the cue ball close to the bottom of the table and beyond the one to the bottom left. Just think it's just really difficult to judge that. I knew he would have a shot.
Yeah. Now this got the angle to break out the other one, and from there, he's pretty much done. Would have loved to be able to play the one he's next to. He knew he wasn't guaranteed, but if he could have dealt the 2 at the bottom and then this one becomes his last ball to get on the 8 ball, it would have been better for him, because the 8 ball's just slightly awkward, but not enough to worry.
Just shows how much you can do with the cue ball there. Chris was pretty much straight on that shot. Playing right hand side, lands him right behind this 8 ball for 2-0. Very, very quickly.
And he's won 5 titles now, but he's there or thereabouts. You know, he's lost in a ton of finals as well. He's been so close. And one thing, and I think that's even surprised Chris, is that the consistency that he's had, because he's always been a player that his top game wins titles, and it's unbelievable. But yeah, it's the game is there or thereabouts every single time. The only time, actually, I think the only time he's had a really poor tournament was the last time we were in Blackpool three weeks ago.
Yeah, and in one of his matches, he didn't really even touch the table, didn't do anything wrong against Brian Halcrow. That break couldn't have come out much nicer for him. It's not often you see Chris cut break, but I think his first break in the match was so far off where he wanted it to be. He's almost fallen back into the safety net of the cut break. I mean, if you could cut break and leave this layout every time, you'd never not. This couldn't have come out much nicer. Easily the cleanest layout of the 3 so far.
And when you get two brilliant players out there, you know, these are the sorts of layouts where, you know, Tom sat in his chair right now. He doesn't have any hope. You know, it's just expected that this will be done and dusted. A little bit surprised Chris hasn't tried to get rid of the one in the middle of the table and left the 2 at the top, because the 8 ball will go right centre. The one top right, the one he's about to play now, would have been his preference for last ball. Just gone past the straight, which means he can get right behind this 8 ball. That was really nice coming down the table. If he leaves that a couple of rolls high, he's got a real problem. That was a great touch shot. That was not. Wow.
Well. Wow indeed.
I can't believe that. In all honesty, I'm in absolute shock.
Those just don't get missed. I mean, by anyone, let alone Chris Melling. That's a huge surprise.
Well, the first thing we should say is they are always a little bit more delicate in the middle than it looks on our main camera, but he was as perfect behind that as you can expect, and well, this is going to be a bigger mistake. What's going on?
Oh, that's criminal. Tom Ford looks back at the table in disgust as Chris Melling wraps up the frame to go 3-0 in front. Chris Melling has had a right let off there.
He indicated he's had a turn here and it's turned in, and maybe it did a touch, but I mean, he was still nowhere near where he wanted to be. You know, it maybe was the reason it went in off, but he was still a mile out from what he was trying to do.
Oh, well, not what you wanted to see if you were Tom Ford. And isn't that just another prime example of being punished, not once but twice, for big errors?
That's how quickly these matches can change, though, isn't it? Tom's at the table there expecting to go 2-1. Chris is expecting him to go 2-1. And he'd have the break, and all of a sudden, in off the next break, and you expect Chris to get out. Because you always expect Chris to get out. That's how you're thinking out there. Of course, he has a great chance.
Well, how often do we say it? So you don't want to give great players one chance, but you certainly can't give them two.
No. Delicate little cannon there, just trying to bump it over the middle, and pace control on it was everything, really. That's a lovely choice of shot. A lot of players just play on the one on the cushion, and he was a touch straight on it, but the reason he didn't was because he knew that he didn't want to play the two on the left-hand side back to back, or play them as a plant where they could go wrong. So he took the opportunity to get the bottom one out of the way, and then from there he can keep it clean. Although the shot he's just played, he was expecting to come all the way across and be the one by his hand now. So this is a reroute anyway, but...
Oh, didn't want to hit that red. I think he's got away with it.
I'm not sure that he has. He's got to play the bottom one. I don't think he can't see the one on the cushion, and, well, the bottom one has... Well, he's cutting it back. I think he can go either way with this one, but it's a lot of work.
Held the cue ball on the yellow, and that's come out pretty well.
Yeah, certainly not how he drew it up 3 or 4 shots ago, but he'll take it if he gets there. Which he will.
Yeah, so not exactly a perfect performance from Chris Melling, but it's a perfect scoreline for him, a 4-0 win over his old mate Tom Ford, who is not out of it by any means, but he's going to have to turn around his fortunes pretty sharpish if he's to get through tonight's group. Chris Melling wins 4-0 to get us started.